Hi. Uh, Fire forest danger in Maine and New Hampshire is really high right now. We've had even though we had a wet, cool spring, things have dried out considerably, and forest danger is far high. We've got this really dry air mass coming in this week to add to it. There's actually not in Gorham, Maine, where I live, but Gorham, New Hampshire, there was a 25-acre wildfire. Uh, so we tend to have smaller fires, forest fires in our areas, of course, than say California and everything. And it's kind of funny about California how certain uh, caring for the environment has actually created a situation where there will be more forest fires and they'll be more devastating. One of them was they mandated the power company out there to spend so much money each year, percentage basis of whatever, on renewable energy. Well, what they did is they started spending that money on renewable energy, and that took away money from maintaining the power lines. So there's been a lot of cases where faulty wiring, power lines, and different things like that actually caused a forest fire. And then the second thing uh, that's happened is the pine bark beetle. Okay, this or just bark beetle, I should say. And this thing gets in trees and destroys them. And so they had a lot of these. But what happened is they killed trees, and instead of going out and cutting those trees and getting them out there, they've left them. Now, supposedly, they were originally supposed to remove them because that's good kind of forest management, unless you're planning for the entire forest to burn. But environmental people, concerned people say, "Oh no, we can't do that. You can't go in there and cut the tree. It will affect the other trees. It will do this and it will do that." And so, well, yeah, it does do that, but uh, you're creating a situation where there definitely will be a forest fire, and it will be extremely hard to stop. It's like putting bales of hay in your house when it catches on fire. They're going to hit that. That's going to burn really easily, right? And that's true with this dead standing trees. They dry out, so they get drier and drier, and you know as they haven't, the bark beetle, evidently that they haven't done anything that worked. At least I don't know what they're actually doing about it, but they're not doing anything that worked, and this is spreading and spreading. There's more dead trees, greater force, fire danger, and things burn. So it's funny how sometimes, I think this happens more than people want to admit, that environmental concerns make the situation worse, not better. It's kind of like this idea, and some people might not like this idea, but you know, man is part of the environment. I'm sorry, but we're here. And it's like, they always talk about man against nature. No, man is part of nature. Man is, because of his brain, is the apex predator on the earth. I mean, we control a lot of things. But to try to remove us from the equation ends up like problems like this. I mean, uh, we know we want electricity, so we need safer electricity. We don't need, at the moment, we don't need them spending a lot of money on renewable energy when their existing lines are creating forest fires. And so when this wood burns, of course, uh, that is, absorbing carbon dioxide and everything into the air and into the environment. And it's just a big waste, because that wood could have been used for other things. I mean, not that many people probably in California have wood stoves, but you can imagine if you look at a forest fire and how many cords of wood might be there, uh, you can see that the environmental impact is big. And, so all of that area burns. And like I say, basically, it just causes a mess. And uh, so now we've got this idea with the forest here now in Maine. We don't have a lot of undergrowth yet. It's starting, but everything else is dry. and that creates a bad situation. That's why I was reading about this in several, type survival courses that you could take. You could go there and everything, and they had some different, outlines of things, and how some people have stopped teaching about rescue fires at all, because there have been cases where people built rescue fires and created a forest fire. So you would have to be really careful and really desperate if you want to set make a signal fire to be rescued in an area that has dry forest. And it's like someone might say, well, no, you got to do what you got to do. Well, yeah, but if that fire isn't seen and you create a forest fire right where you are, that's not going to be nice for you at all. You may die of the fire. So I don't know, just some things to think about as we as we move forward. We have to find balances, but we have to be realistic about it. It's interesting. Of course, Elon Musk is in the news all the time now, but he's got the Tesla, the electric car. But recently he made a statement saying how that we shouldn't, we're not in the right position to start heavily restricting petroleum, because, he seems to have some common sense. Even though, technically he's creating this car that isn't going to use fossil fuel, he knows that you can't just automatically interject that, because so many other things are fossil fuel based. And like in Maine, okay, if I buy an electric car and I plug it into my house in Gorham, Maine, it's being, a lot of the electricity is coming from the Cousin Island power plant that burns coal. So actually, you don't have an electric car, you have a coal car. And so this coal is actually producing the electricity that makes the car move. Every time you convert it energy some way from, coal fire to electricity, and then to the vehicle and charging it, you lose electricity along the way. It's, inefficient. But I don't know. I think the environment, people don't look at it correctly. They don't step back and see the whole picture. They don't often do what's called cradle to grave analysis. In other words, you take something like the batteries for electric cars. How much pollution and environmental impact is in creating them, using them, and then the big one sometimes, disposing or recycling them. That last cost can be significant sometimes. And it's just kind of, when you have the two concerns, you just say, oh, let's make it economically, and you create it, and then it really can become a nightmare later on, dealing with a large number of these. For a while, and I don't know if this is true, but for a while, when you took, they have these battery exchanges, you get a new battery, you bring the old one in, and they give you, I don't know, a couple bucks, or you don't pay I forget what it was, or you pay a disposable fee whenever you buy a car battery. For a long time, these car batteries were going into a landfill in Canada. So I think they probably stopped that, but that's expensive. The landfill. I read something about it, the liners that it's buried, and all of the stuff that they got in there to try to deal with this stuff, and it's just really bad sometimes. So we have to look at the whole picture. We have to consider the fact that man is going to continue to live, continue to be more dominant, and we got to make him part of the equation rather than setting him outside the equation. Bye.